Good morning, you all. Let's try that one again. Hello, Gary. Hello, Pammy K. Hello, Rick Malion. Hello, Gary Ross. Good to see you in the house. Mikola Daily Word. Blessed forever. Hello, Faith and Sharon and Behoot and Jack. Hello, Jason. Hello, Miss Nikki. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what I think it is? Oh, nice little it's a little Triumph Spitfire, I think. Maybe. Tammy EC Watchers, Tupelo Honey, hello, Miss Judy, JW, Clint, Real Tom, pleasure to see you. Retired Person and Patsy and Robert, Sissy, Monty, hello, Ellen and Felicia, Anakin, hello, Temple Swift, Jemanuel and Mr. Lee. If you're like me, you're getting to that age where you're tired all the time, bloated after every meal, and no amount of water seems to help. Listen up. Because recently, dealing with all this, decided to call my friend Dr. Josh for some help. Told him what was going on. His response kind of shocked me. Said showing all the telltale signs of a dehydrated liver. Not dehydrated like I need to drink more water. Told me that was actually part of the problem. You see, most people think hydration is just about drinking enough water. But here's what Dr. Josh explained. Your liver is your body's main hydration organ. If your liver cells aren't getting water at the cellular level, it doesn't matter how many glasses you drink a day, the water just runs right through you. When your liver is dehydrated, everything suffers. Your energy tanks, your digestion slows, you bloat, you hold on to stubborn weight, your skin looks dull, you feel decades older than you actually are. Plain water can't fix this on its own, and most electrolyte drinks are just sugar and salt to completely ignore your liver. So, why Dr. Josh, a practicing doctor of over 25 years of medical expertise, created a daily hydration drink called LTV. Larry, Tom, Victor. It's not just another electrolyte powder. LTV combines a clinical dose of marine electrolytes with taurine to help your cells actually hold on to water, plus milk thistle and dandelion root to support your liver's natural detox function. Told me LTV has already helped thousands of people and received incredible reviews from customers who noticed results fast. So why not? Give a call, hit the net, give it a try. So I started drinking LTV in the morning. Happy to report been able to say goodbye to a lot of those issues like constant bloating, crashes in the afternoon, dried out, foggy feeling. Hello to feeling considerably better in pretty short period of time. Dr. Josh put his it's powerful. Amazed at how much better it felt. And you're not going to get results like that from just any old drinking water, regular electrolyte drink, etc. Dr. Josh put his 25 years of experience into LTV to make certain it actually delivers real cellular hydration, not just expensive pee. So if you're ready to hydrate your liver at the cellular level, finally feel the difference in your energy, your digestion, your waistline, give it a try. Just go to drinkltv.com/MarkZ to get your hands on LTV today. And lucky day, because Dr. Josh is running a special where you can get up to 64% off of LTV for a limited time, but it only available through that link, the drinkltv.com/MarkZ. Links in the description, YouTube and Rumble. So you don't even have to remember it to give it a try. Hello, Boo Hooer, Roland, Kevin. Hello, American Patriot. Reading a few of these before we dive in. Where are we at on time? Yeah, Christy, I'm with you. I'd rather see me in gold too. I mean, red's not a bad thing. Maybe we can just go to like compromise, go to a rose gold or something. Fred, go to sleep. Iraq, yeah, Iraq tanker got hit. You look at like pretty much the only two Iranian friendly countries in the Gulf really have been Oman and Iraq. Both have been hit by Iranian shells, missiles, etc., drones. Now they're out there, yeah, no, we want brotherly cooperation, all Islamic nations. Meanwhile, they're striking them, blowing up. And then they're out there saying they only hit military targets, but they keep hitting things like hotels and airports and you name it. Clinton said Israel just got hammered by Iran. Big strike. We're going to talk about that fog of war and what's real and what's not because we get some really conflicting reports. Trey, I got to agree with you. Trey Halbrook said Wendy Z is the greatest. I just have to agree with you. Steven says watch out for false flags. Let's see. Hello, TP. Hello, Hunter Guy and Trump. Lucy Lou. And I'm glad you enjoyed Whiskey and Wisdom last night. It was fun. LK, happy birthday to your granddaughter. Let's see. Jack Trump says gas price going down. MSN says going up. It's going up. No, when he said that yesterday, he was accurate. As of this morning, because of some more tankers being hit, it's going to go up. The news is changing by the minute right now, folks. Don't grab onto something thinking it's absolute concrete when you're just going to find out that concrete just got hit by a bunker buster. Let's see. Tucker Carlson revealed during the brief Iran-Israel war earlier this year, Israeli soldiers barged into U.S. military meetings at the Pentagon, issuing demands, telling officers what to do. Well, I can't wait to find out all the truths on these things. Vincent, things are exceptionally quiet on the CMKM front. So, yeah, no update to share, unfortunately. Rumors BB's gone. Rumors that the new Khamenei is gone. Rumors that he's still there and giving comments. Not even any fun bond updates to share with you. Got a few Iraq things to share, and we'll get on to it. Dow down 525. I haven't even looked this morning at the Dow. Let's give her a quick look, and then it's time to dive into the news. Market open down 446 right now. Let me refresh it to make certain. Yeah, 464. Gold, silver still hanging pretty solid at that. Silver, gold 51.70, silver 86.65. When you consider the amount of buying and selling and unrest, that is pretty stable. Headed up soon. Hello, Night Dragon. What happened to Drill Baby Drill? They've been doing just that as quickly as they can get the system to work. They've streamlined licensing process. I've got still have a lot of contacts in the industry. They're saying their new permits and workover permits, etc., are taking about a quarter of the time, which change course on a bureaucracy in just over a year and make that almost 4 times faster. That's pretty impressive. And right now, the U.S. and Canada, massive producers, U.S. largest producer. As these oil prices go up, I think Carney in Canada owe everybody a big thank you because they are making obscene money as it goes up. So, of course, so are the oil companies in the U.S. making obscene money as the prices go up over fear. When you can't pump from the other area, it's made up. Countries like U.S. and Canada pretty much get to sell unlimited. Let's see, Benny. Why would Iran blow up oil tankers causing environmental mess to their own country, Benny? Because they really don't give a damn. Scorched earth. It's a mindset. I don't know how to describe it unless you've spent time in that part of the world. They don't care about the fallout. It doesn't matter. Never has, never will to them. You and I may think that way, but they don't think that way. Let's get to what, and guys, again, on the bond side, you're just going to be disappointed because it is staying very, very quiet. We've got a number of folks expecting closings on deals. We have a number of folks with historic assets that think this coming week, next week, and over the weekend are going to be absolutely stunning, amazing, and unreal. I've not heard any updates from any of my redemption, aka wealth management folks. I did want to touch on this because we mentioned it yesterday and some folks were asking for the article. So I'm going to include that one today. Iran formulated plan to attack California with drones in case of war. As recently ago as just a few months, back in February, right? Back in February, they're talking about the FBI. We recently acquired information that as of early February 2026, Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the United States homeland, specifically against unspecified targets in California. In the event that the U.S. conducted strikes against Iran, the alert said, adding the investigators have no additional information on timing, method, target, or perpetrators of this alleged attack. Just wanted to include those. I had a number of people wondering where I pulled that information from, so I wanted to make certain you guys had that article. Now let's get on with it. Head into Iraq. Urgent alternatives to ensure oil exports continue. Of course, Iraq, the world, desperate to keep the lifeline pumping. Wonder if we're going to get a boost in alternative energy ideas, Tesla, etc., because of this. Maybe we needed a good scare. Anyways, they're looking for alternatives, including reactivating some pipelines that they can activate. Also, greatly increasing the amount going out through some of the other smaller pipelines in Turkey. They've had to shut down the Ceyhan one going from Kurdistan because of attacks. They're just looking at ways to increase. They're going to let them uncap as much as they can get out, they can sell. I forgot to mention that Iran is supposedly in negotiations with India to allow Indian oil tankers only, oil going from Iran to India, to flow freely and not target them. That's a rumor, one of the many rumors running around today. Coordination frameworks waiving an alternative candidate for the presidency of the government. Upcoming meeting to decide options. What does this mean? There's a lot of back and forth. The Maliki, Sudani, and it's interesting. So they're going to have a meeting this weekend. They say next week because for them, it pretty much starts after Friday, Saturday morning. So they are being told they're going to try to settle that. That was what came out of their meeting last night, was that they will have a big sit down and they went over what's going to be important to cover in that, laid it out, and they have an upcoming one. They also have an interim plan put together that they want to make official. That would be the wait. That's it. Yeah, okay. I pulled the right article. State of law framework desire for the Sudanese government to continue temporarily until the end of the aggression against Iran. So they're looking to pass a special, call it a memorandum, call it a special law, call it a special understanding, whatever you want to call it, where the Sudani government will be able to continue in full effect, full force, not a caretaker, until the Iranian conflict is over and there's more peace in the area, because right now they can't afford to have any uncertainty in their government. So they have two plans, depending on how this weekend meeting goes over Maliki. If the meeting goes well, Maliki steps down. They won't need to do it. If it doesn't, they are putting together a framework of understanding so that Sudani will have full normal powers until it is settled. So either way, we are very close to off stuck on this one in hopes that we can move forward with a rate change. Almost all the news is going to blend with Iran right now, folks. Excellent. Stop catering these Iraqi meetings. They're there for the free food. That's funny. All right. 6 ship struck. Oil tops $100 as tanker attacks escalate hours after Trump's "we won." So overnight into the wee hours, into this morning, their time, more ships struck. He was right yesterday when he said prices were coming down. They did. And then things changed overnight and this morning, and now oil is on a rampage again. It's going to be like this, folks. It's going to be up, down, up, down, up, down based on the news. It's going to blow left. It's going to blow right. Just prepare yourself for that one. So the shipping turmoil escalates as multiple vessels, at least 6, struck overnight. And then we've got a story we're going to talk about. U.S. intel assesses Iranian regime remains intact. And some of what that means. Dubai suffering drone attacks. Of course, Iraqi assets being hit, including tankers. U.S. Losing tankers. Iran warns of potential $200 per barrel oil price as it attacks merchant ships. It wants to use Iran has come out and said that they will use that and attack the commercial vessels, try to shut down the world energy grid to apply pressure to the U.S. and Israel and the rest of the world so that they scream at U.S. and Israel to stop. This is normal tactics. Now, great one last night, which tells me that what we hear the Trump administration saying, as opposed to all of the intelligence leaks or supposed, oh, we talked to an expert, no idea what the expert is. And the experts, the experts who we don't know who the experts are because nobody will name them. Nobody will say this person said this, won't give us any details as to what they're basing it on at all. So we've got one group of this mysterious intel folks that talk to places like Reuters, New York Times, and Washington Post that we're just supposed to trust because they use word experts. Or we got administration telling us something else. So we've got to figure out what's real and what's not real. And a lot of that's going to depend on whether you hate Trump or love Trump as to what you believe is right and who's telling you what is right. I do like 2C TV. 2C TV live last night showing Iranian people taking to the streets, overwhelming Iranian guard checkpoints, basically removing the Iranian guards from the streets in multiple cities. This one live from Beirut. So which one's real? The ones we can see with our own eyes, or is it the magical, mystical experts that we hear about at the Pentagon that nobody knows who they are or what they base it on? I don't know for certain. We're going to bounce to that one next. Okay, not that one next. Is that one next? Yeah. That'll be there. B2s. Did B2s just drop the GBU 57 massive ordnance penetrators on another Iranian nuclear site? This is a site under construction. They started scrambling it, supposedly moving a lot of their enriched or pre-enriched product and technology to this site after the last strikes on Iran months ago. Shows footage of the bunker busters going in, destroying the sites. We were told that we were going to get some precision strikes in the coming days to change things. Look at that. If you look at the far right photo, now there is a lot of dirt. You see the pictures on the left were under construction. On the right was after they'd covered it in concrete, encased it in feet and feet of concrete, everything else. Then they took it out with 3 precision bunker busters. That is precision. Think about that. You're dropping that from tens of thousands of feet, nailing 3 bunker busters within 100 feet of each other in perfect line. That's impressive technology. Scary, but impressive. Scary, but impressive. That one interested. Dave sent it to me and I liked it. Fresh U.S. intel assessment says Iran regime not close to collapse after 2 weeks of war. We hear that it's close to collapse. Now we're being told it's nowhere close. So a fresh report in Reuters said what should already be quite obvious to us all, or tall. U.S. intelligence assessed that Iran's leadership and government are largely intact and the system does not risk collapse. After 2 weeks of heavy, sustained U.S.-Israeli bombardment decapitation strikes, which have killed Ayatollah and over 40 top leaders, and they still seem to have a system put together, right? But I am curious because we see some mixed reports on the streets as to what we're getting from our official sources. But this intelligence assessment indicates that Iran's clerical leadership has remained cohesive. And we're hearing that journalists are talking to these specialists, but we can't seem to find who the specialists are. And they keep saying that they have multiple military reports saying that it's still intact, but they won't tell us about the reports, where the reports come from, who did the reports. What I'm getting at, guys, is the fog of war is so thick right now, we got no idea what's real. So when you're watching the news, when you're hearing it from me, when you're hearing it from anybody, take it with a huge grain of salt and be prepared to be completely wrong. See, TBA, this is where I'm at. An unnamed source to me right now is pretty much useless. See, Roy Hobbs, curious why the threat level in the U.S. is not raised with all the supposed terror sleeper cells. I think they're afraid to raise it. I think anybody not paying attention is foolish and naive. Okay, couple more quick ones. Then we need to get to Dr. Scott and see if he has any fun, good stuff. And if not, we're going to have him, I don't know, doing belly dances or something for the ladies. He's got to make you smile somehow. Private credit's margin call moment arrives as Morgan Stanley Cliffwater Gate investors. Now that private credit bubble, guys, this one is telling you what's going on behind the scenes. When you try to ignore whatever the headlines are about how great things are rough. And there's a lot of panic amongst the wealthy. When you see private credit imploding, this is the wealthy that had their money parked in these assets. It's them panicking. What has happened is they've run out of liquidity. And you can be worth $1 trillion, but if you have no liquidity, you can't get a burger to eat. You're going hungry. You're going homeless. Theoretically, you're worth a fortune. This is what we're watching right now amongst many of the most wealthy clients in the U.S. and the world. They're trying to get out of these private funding funds, private asset groups, private equity groups. They're running for the door, and they can't liquidate fast enough to get everybody out of the door. This precedes one form or another, or pretty much always this form, every crash in recorded history. Just saying, be prepared, be safe, protect yourselves, and please stock up some food or some seeds. Mr. Bill and Lynn, I saw a post say Rothschilds have been linked to Epstein officially. Yeah, what have we learned in the Epstein files? Speaking of which, we got one more article to touch on, and it's Epstein related. COVID was planned, engineered. We learned that. We learned that these elite really are pedophiles and Luciferian / Baal worshipers. They really do traffic children, eat human flesh. I mean, we've learned all these things are real, and I'm just still surprised the whole world's just going on like everything's okay. What another surprise, and not taken to the streets, and that the Rothschilds pretty much engineer our entire world. Man, that's a lot to unpack. Or for all of us, we've known that for years. Epstein guard called to testify as Oversight Committee explores potential murder. House Oversight Chairman James Comer is ramping up the heat on botched handling of the Jeffrey Epstein custody, announcing a subpoena for prison guard Tova Noel amid a bombshell revelation of suspicious cash deposits, online searches just before the disgraced elitist alleged suicide. So she gets posted to Epstein's. Suddenly she starts getting cash deposits. A few grand here, a few grand there, about 11 grand total. Slide them in the days before. Searching for luxury items online suddenly have a lot of extra wealth. Got to be prepared for it. And some of those searches, including any updates on Epstein's condition, like while at work, in the hour or two, just a couple of hours before Epstein's supposed suicide and discovery. Some really, really weird things. So Comer's like, what have we learned? A large number of people on the panel doing the investigation don't believe he committed suicide. Some don't believe he's dead. Now, when Comer finds this, it's not his job to prosecute it. It's just his job to bring out the information. Then we're going to see if they take the information and prosecute. But they're finally asking the questions we've been asking, and they are digging, bringing in people to find out the answers. The strange videos, the disappearances, the inconsistencies between who says this says. We all see it. We've been reading and studying and wondering why nobody's asking the questions, and they are finally asking the questions. Finally asking the questions. You can. I've not seen this. You can. I'm going to have to look for some information on it. UCAN posting Mark Epstein's accountant was deposed yesterday. He dropped many names and associations. 2CTV reported that radical Islamists will have a rally on Sunday authorized by, I assume you're going to put the Shah, or not the Shah, the Khomeini, the Iranian government, which means it can be dangerous for folks that believe in freedom on that day. I'm with you. Military tribunals. What do you think, Dr. Scott? I think military tribunals at this point's the only way.
That's the only way it's ever going to be. So, yep, absolutely. I think the one thing we're going to talk about here is we're going to share with you a lot of different update points. I think when they show you the splash information, they're just introducing it so you hear about it, so that when you see the prosecution of the point, you go, oh, I got the idea.
In other words, we're being slow boiled.
Yep. It's just it's just the introduction of the point. So I just got kind of clogged up there. It was like I got really clogged up at the beginning. And
I know you just thought about time with us and got a little teary in emotion.
Yeah, really. So I put together like a real hodgepodgey kind of thing with a whole bunch of interesting little points out there, and then I'll show you a couple of videos.
You know, for me, that's a good way to take it right now, because we have so much information and a lot of it appears disconnected. So it's not disconnected. We just haven't figured out all the connections. So mine's been that way a lot lately, just kind of a hodgepodge, but it's all starting to blend together.
And I do not dance, so I won't dance for anyone. All right. So here we go. This actually is pulled from a whole load of different people. And so this is a different sets of emails that was sent out to union members, to government union members. And you're going, and I got this, and I'm about trying to figure all the things out. But did you know that those who work in the government are part of unions? And I'm going, why are you government unions? I mean, why do they need to have a union? And so they all got a letter. Now, Trump earlier on in last year had sent an executive order that was saying we're going to stop the union and some level of union point. And so they got a letter, said many of you received an email advising that the collective bargaining agreement has been canceled. And then it went on and said, if you've not done so, sign your voluntary pay due to the unions. And then it goes on and says, dues are not just formality, arbitration, and it gives you all this kind of stuff. And it talks about, how they're still going to have a union, but the union is basically broken. And they don't tell you the union's broken, but the union actually is broken. And it's so fascinating that they talk about this. And yet they have been broken nationwide. So the none of the areas are actually active. And so all of this, and I got it from different sources. So this is one source. I've got it from the IRS. So all of them are losing their capability of a union. And listen, the government have the best capabilities, or the best benefits out there. And I just go, you got to be kidding me. Why do you guys need a union? So this is the sick part. This is also another thing that came from one of the a banking source. So this is another kind of tangential point. But this came out here just yesterday. So this is coming from a bank. This might be exactly how they might tell you. Instead of saying QFS, they're saying a bank-to-bank transfer experience are coming to you soon. No action is required. So on March 17th, They're saying it's going to change the way that we're going to do a bank-to-bank transfer. So they're saying behind the scenes updates to bank-to-bank transfer. What might that be? That's what I think we're going to see in the quantum financial system. So the quantum financial system is going to cut off the SWIFT codes, but I think that's where you're going to see the XRP, the XLM, all the things from bank to bank transfers. But they're admitting this kind of thing. Thank you for choosing us as a banking partner. We're focused on a seamless online experience. Why are they saying this kind of stuff? I think this is the cool stuff. And I think so we're starting to see some of the bank-to-bank transfer experience coming soon. Really, really cool stuff. This has never occurred. Why would you say this kind of stuff? Because the only bank-to-bank transfer system that has ever existed is the SWIFT. Why would you ever need it? Unless they're flipping into the cryptos. Wow, that's a big one. Okay, let's do a little transfer, little bit of a changeover, and we're going to talk a little bit about one of the interesting points that are happening here. So inside of the system, let's go back into there again. Let's bring it up on the screen if you don't mind. This is some of the left. This is why you don't listen to the left, because they're all stupid. This is why, I mean, she came out and talked about this, but I always remind you how dumb these people are. Iran is a country. We don't live there, so it's not our country. And when we go there, we are at another country. This is why I just try to tell you, like, when you listen to these people, this is how stupid they all are. When they talk off script, if you ever have ever listened to them talk off script, this is how stupid they are. Jesse Jackson, he dies, and she went off script, and she, spoke for a while, and you're going like, are you like, did you like smoke your weed beforehand? And then you listen to the Ayatollah, speak, or Khomeini, and then not even long after he takes office, and he's in a coma and he's lost his leg. So who's actually shooting off all the missiles? Now I keep telling you, what is actually happening in here? So, guys, what you're seeing isn't actually what you're actually seeing. Realize there is something going on in the background you're not actually understanding, too. Okay. This actually just occurred yesterday. So we saw for several seconds, it was 38 seconds, the screen went green. Really interesting, which corresponds to the Q drop 38, 4 carriers and escorts in the Pacific. Why is it relevant? To prevent the other state actors from attempting to harm us, Russia and China. Why would we talk about this from 2017? Because that's part of why we're there. Okay. Or conversely, North Korea, or all three. Think about it logically. Timing is everything. Timing and happening. Note increased military involvement. Note, the deployments starting tomorrow. Note false flags. Follow Huma. They're basically saying the cabal, in essence. Prepare for messages, reassurance based upon what the drop here to spread the different platforms. The calm before the storm. Again, this wasn't about the time frame of here. It was talking about the time frame of what we're dealing with here. So, and that was happening on this time frame. So 452 also talks about here. So enough is enough. Good hunting. So This is a real interesting viewpoint here. Okay. All right. And now I'm gonna also kind of just admit to where there is a conference coming up here. I'm going to be in Vegas. My voice is going to be a lot better than it is today. In Vegas, so you guys can sign up. You can go to marycrowley.com. If you just go to marycrowley.com, you can see this code right here. You can snap it right now if you'd like to, and you can snap the code. You can kind of go over and you can go to, you can click this for free and you can sign up. That would be really kind of cool. You can also do the VIP pass if you'd like to as well. There's going to be a lot of us speaking. So very kind of cool thing. You can meet me. I'd love to meet you as well with that too. So anyway, I think that's one of the things we're going to talk about, but let's also do the videos, and I'd like to talk about them. The first video is one that we talked about last week, but we're going to also follow up with a second video. So let's do this first video.
President Trump gave the order for Treasury to exert a maximum pressure campaign on Iran. I said at a speech at the Economic Club of New York in March that I predicted that the Iranian currency would collapse, that we would see the economy collapse thanks to this maximum pressure. So we have been softening up the economy and preparing the ground for what our great warriors are doing right now. So the Iranian economy was vulnerable. We cut off the dollar supply into Iran. All of their oil is sanctioned. We've been able to keep the funds, many of the funds out of Iran. One of the largest banks collapsed in December. The central bank was.
Okay, I just want to pause it right here because here's what I want you to hear what he said. In March of 2025, he's talking about, cutting off the dollar. No, what they did is they took the central bank through the SWIFT system. They cut off, and they cut off the dollar. They cut off the real. So they didn't cut off. They used the dollar to shift over through the central bank currencies, right? So that's how they're all connected. So the real, and they set it for in December. So we knew this kind of thing was coming. All of us kind of noticed that the EU to the real went down to a zero number, and that's when everything went crazy, right? Okay.
Forced to print a huge amount of money. Inflation ensued, and people took to the streets. So there was an economic crash in Iran in December, and now we have the opening to go in, and our military is taking over from the sky and from the sea.
Okay, do you catch the point? So we go from a inflation kind of point, it goes down to a zero kind of area, and then we have a military operation. This is a microcosm of what everyone in the world is is dealing with. It's a very short-lived kind of point. That's why I kind of say we're actually dealing with that in America in a very interesting way. Let's do the second video as well.
Treasury, and what we have done is created a dollar shortage in the country. At a speech at the Economic Club of New York in March, I outlined the strategy.
Look who's in the background, by the way, guys. Do you see who's in the background? I don't know if you guys know who that is. Judy Shelton, Goldback currency lady. She's been meeting with him quite a bit. This is no accident.
To a swift and I would say grand culmination in December when one of the largest banks in Iran went under. There was a run on the bank. The central bank had to print money. The Iranian currency went into free fall. Inflation exploded, and hence we have seen the Iranian people out on the street. We will continue monitoring all the partners, all the Iranian partners. The good news, Senator.
Listen to what he said. We're monitoring all the Iranian partners. Who are the Iranian partners? Is he talking about the bad partners or the good partners? It's hard for me to say.
And partners, The good news, Senator, is that we have seen, and we can see it with our FinCEN.
We have the FinCEN. Now we have a conversation about FinCEN. What is that? The Treasury. They wanted to look at small businesses. The FinCEN is how we actually look through the lens and how we control through the SWIFT system. Guys, these are such powerful points that no one wants to spend any time talking about. But now we're starting to see those mechanisms in here. And so no one actually sees it. No one talks about it. And I really love this kind of this kind of conversation too. I just thought this was some powerful, powerful insider points that I just never get to see anyone really share in a large way.
I'm here with you. I'm trying to avoid turning my microphone on because the neighbor just cranked up something really loud.
Anyway, I just thought those are two great videos. I'm going to be spending a lot more time talking about it on my own channel. I'm going to be building a couple videos.
Blind Squirrel, I wonder if anybody else noticed that one. The guy behind Basent, I don't think he blinked the entire video.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, Judy Shelton's behind him too. I mean, there's a ton of information. I'm going to really unpack it in a video very more deeply in there. There's so much in there when you got FinCEN, you got the SWIFT, you know, that the SWIFT can actually turn off a whole nation. I mean, the you know, there's so many things right and wrong in there, you know, that the central banking system can completely shut off a nation. And you go, wow, I mean, that's relatively nefarious. And you go, that's kind of scary.
For me, anything we can do to take control from them is important. It's got to have a parallel economy so that they can never have the level of control that they have shown their willingness to use. If you didn't learn during COVID how willing they are to use any tool they have to control the people, then yeah, you went back to sleep. And I don't think anybody in here went back to sleep, by the way, when I say those things.
Which is why what we need to have is the QFS, which has to be sovereign, separated away from every other nation, so that we don't have this kind of, you know, control type of central bank controlling each other. This is what we've been dealing with that kind of stuff too. So anyway, let's jump into some questions.
Yeah, let's see what people have got for you. Here's your chance. One, do you have any thoughts on timing, Dr. Scott, before they ask you that obvious question? I've seen some great things happen. I'm also seeing so many, the news is so all over the place that for me, it's really difficult to say this is it. I mean,
other than I know Trump is really. I think there's a couple points that I've been hearing. Trump's been pretty responsive because to a couple areas. He knows that people are upset at the Iranian war. He knows a couple people have been upset at the price of gas. And yet what people are also realizing too is that the price of gas should never affect the American market, which tells you that it's completely ridiculous. The war, what has gone on for what, a week and a half? Well, there's no way that the price, we don't even get enough gas in America from Iran that should be affected. And even if we got most of our gas from that area, it should never be affected in this kind of time frame. So this is completely ridiculous with that too. So do you think the war is going to last that long? No, and Trump has actually said it over and again. This thing is so far done. When the top leaders keep dying off, no, I don't think it's going to go that long. And he's actually admitted it can be shut off here in a very short time frame. all of their infrastructure, their military infrastructure is gone. So, well, is there a need to file taxes? Okay, and I've kind of said that, Darren. So if you think that you're going to get a refund, file taxes. I mean, file taxes and get it back. If you're gonna if you think that you're gonna pay taxes, well then hold on and see what happens on on that time frame. I'm not going to be at your tax guru and sit there and figure that out. So like that I'm not going to be responsible for that kind of stuff. So I'm sorry, just not going to be that person for you.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I can tell you, based on contacts at the Internal Revenue Service, a number of others. I mean, there's a record number of people refusing to file.
Yep.
And
Well,
especially after all the fraud of the past year, there is record numbers of people telling them to bite it.
Well, there was a record number of people who didn't file last year. We
And it
know
gets bigger
that.
this one.
And that was before the Minnesota, California fraud.
Ohio, yeah.
So if there was a record number of people who didn't file last year, those people won't file this year that didn't file last year. They won't file this year, right? And then the massive number of people who won't file, from last year to this year, and then the other people are saying, "Well, screw you because of all that stuff." Well, guess what? What would you say is going to happen? I mean, so I can't answer that issue. I can't answer what you should do.
Yeah, that's a tough one. When one person breaks the law, they're easy to catch. When everybody says screw you and the law and the entire nation refuses, then
What do you say?
What do you say? I mean, they only have so much law enforcement out there for chasing you down for not paying your taxes. But then again, if you're the one they make an example out of, they can make your life miserable.
Yeah. So,
Sharon wants to know, I thought we were trying to help the Iranian people get back on their feet. How is destroying their economy helping them? Unfortunately, you're destroying the evil regime's economy. Their economy will explode positive as soon as that regime's out of their way.
Yeah, you're Sharon, you're completely missing the point. We are not destroying their economy whatsoever.
No, we're kind of putting a hurting on it in order to remove their leadership. The question is, how are we going to handle it after? We're going to do the right thing and get them on their feet and give them relief. That's my thought.
The reality that if you're seeing it from, I can guarantee you, Sharon, you're watching mainstream media. Do not. Can you just do me a favor? Turn off mainstream media, because I swear to you that's the fault. Don't do that. Okay, mainstream media or whatever whatever level of that is telling you the lie. We are not destroying their economy in that way. What we are doing is destroying some of their capability, of their flow from some of the other issues. Trust me, we're not dealing with that in that way. So my tax lady said I don't have to file because all I have to is Social Security benefit, and it's not federal tax, estate tax, and earned income. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of these people. Stephen, can't wait to see what the new Middle East will look like in a few years. The whole world and the balance of power, all of it has changed in the shortest amount of period of time I can think of historically ever. It's crazy. Trump made the whole world spin. It's never seen anybody take such an active effort to change things. And while he may be hated by some, almost every bit of it makes America the biggest power in the world. So I guess it just depends on whether you are pro-America or anti-America.
Yeah, there are some whole Telegram channels who hate Trump, but they're for the movement that is happening. And I'm going, well, if you hate Trump and you call Trump like the Antichrist, and and you're for the patriot movement. I'm like going, are you like psychotic? Like, I don't understand, what you're talking about. Like, I don't get it. Listen, do I agree with everything that everyone does? No, but like you don't really understand what you're talking about when you do that. I mean, what's the alternative?
and a lot of a good point. Video yesterday. Oh, wait a minute. I got to add this one in there. Over at Politibrawl, Trump going into a Venezuelan restaurant, and
Yeah,
it turned into a party. People wanting pictures, dancing with them. The Venezuelan people in the restaurant were just over the top. The people working there, the people eating there. It turned into a mini rally because he went into a Venezuelan restaurant.
correct. You
So it
gotta
totally
see.
depends on your perspective. If I'm a disenfranchised, wealthy liberal that believes in socialism and communism, okay, I'd just be the kid of their parent because their parents made the money. But yeah, those are the only ones hating it. Venezuelans are loving it. It's your point of view.
Someone keeps asking, are we going to get our credit card and other interest back? My answer is no.
Yeah, that's gonna be mine too. I've never from any source heard that we would get that back. The only thing I've ever heard is on the tax side, and that is only on the federal income tax side. Have you heard any different than that?
Nope.
I hate it for everybody, but
Sorry.
yeah, if you see any other questions, dive in. Don't hesitate. Because I am searching back through on the different platforms. Oh, before I forget, Stacy Z is not joining us today. Storm's going through the area. She said her internet's been really funky and just not worth the frustration. How about you guys? How's your weather been staying during? I keep hearing about storms.
No, we're just fine. I mean, we had some storms that kind of skipped our spot, but we're okay other than that. So,
Surfer, good morning, Mark and Dr. Scott. Here's another perspective. What the satanic ball had planned for us in Agenda 21. Well, Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. We wouldn't be on here having a conversation. They were planning to get rid of us all.
yeah, thank you so much for saying that. I mean, listen, if they were going to win, they would have already won. That is the very good perspective with that too.
Yeah, that it really is. Remember, they have clearly stated they want to kill y'all. Well, not all of you. They want to keep a handful they think would make good slaves. I pointed that out earlier this week. For any that don't remember, in the Agenda 20 and the Agenda 2030, their plan was to go from 8 billion people to 500 million right around now.
And by the way, and oh yeah, someone just said, Georgia Guidestones. One of my favorite points to that area was the missile. I think it was in 2023, the missile strike. And I mean, it came out of nowhere, or whether it was a DEW or a missile strike, and it hits in the dead of night. It's gone in seconds. That could not have happened without a DEW or missile strike. That is a military weapon that happens. And the next day, we see, like out of nowhere, there's a just a removal kind of thing. And I'm like, what? Like those guidestones in Georgia are gone. And no one really wants to talk about it with that too. So
I think we need to put together our own guidestones for where we think the world's going.
yeah. Yes, I was on Charlie Ward yesterday. I was that will be it'll be on Saturday. I was on X22 on Tuesday, and that will show on Saturday. I was on Elijah List on Tuesday. That showed yesterday as well too. So anyway, how far back are federal returns? Mark believes that we're going to go back all the years. I think you go back, a few years. I don't know which one you might believe. I
Yeah,
can't tell you.
initially I heard since the Federal Reserve took over and the Internal Revenue Service was created. Then I'd heard starting from 1946 after World War II. So I've had conflicting reports on that one. My firm belief is far enough back that anybody else that's interested is too old and dead already. Or that's my belief, anyways. Yeah, a number of people talking about, well, should I file state taxes? Guys, I'm not giving advice on that front. I mean, the only thing I can tell you is we very clearly see that most of that money goes to fraud.
It all does. And one of the things I found a long time ago is that state taxes, your state taxes, and when I got audited years ago, I got audited by the state people who were judging on state and federal things. And I was so fascinated by it. I'm like, why are you talking about the federal taxes when you're state auditors? And I asked the question of those people directly, and they were like, well, because we're from, I mean, you're from the Oklahoma offices. Why would you be talking about federal taxes? And they never really wanted to answer that question. It's because they're all mixed in together. Your state taxes go to all they don't go to your state. They go to federal stuff. It's all fake. I mean, it's so fake. It's not funny. Do you think silver will be classified as a tier 1 asset? I'm not sure what a tier 1 asset is.
Tier 1 would be like cash, like real cash, unencumbered. It would be gold, unencumbered. And they just moved gold back to that level, or officially committed to it being a tier 1 asset. I personally, yes, I think silver will soon be a tier 1. It's going to be a weird one because of its industrial uses. That being said, if gold were cheaper, it would have the industrial uses.
But I mean, I I think that what we're going to see, Treasury sets gold as the, it'll be set by Treasury. So gold will not adjust in value. It'll be set. So, let's say, let's say whatever, what I just lost his name, Rickards. Let's say he's right at 27K. So if gold is set at 27K, it'll stay right there the moment that it flips, and you're not going to have it go up and down. So you might as well sell the gold. You're not going to be able to
once they go to that fixed. You're right.
It's not moving, right? So it's right there at that level. Then silver can move up and down all it wants to. It's fine, but you're not going to. You can hold on to your gold all you want to, but it doesn't matter. It's a fixed asset, and it always was a fixed asset before 1913. Well, before 1933. So it was, you could keep it. It didn't really matter. So,
Chad, now here's a quick question, Dr. Scott. Chad said that the Guidestones sit 666 miles from UN to New York. I didn't know that one. What's that number for, if you got a satanic number 666, do we have a good and godly number? Is it like 777 or something? Just curious for you folks that are into that kind of thing out there, because that's maybe where we need to put our maybe from the White House or from Capitol Hill, our version of the Guidestones.
Well, I did some math on that number when I do my end time talk, but basically 6 means obviously the number of man, 3 means completion, which means that when you place that number on it, it means completing man. So when you have that, it completes or ends man. So when you have the number of 666, it ends the man. So that's why if someone ever accepts the mark of the beast, that's why you are ended at that point in time. So it's one of the areas. What's your background in? First off, I'm an audiologist. That's what I've been doing that.
That's where the doctor came from.
Yep. That's where my doctorate is in, but I also have a degree in English, And, but I've studied end time issues for 43 years. I've written 19 books, but, for a long time here, I've been studying, this, this area of financial kind of stuff because I own few businesses and it's kind of my thing.
Jim, I'm with you. The mainstream media, when the mainstream media is told what to say, they don't feel an obligation to know why they're saying it because they're saying what they were told to say. No, no need to make that loud and clear. That is screaming obvious for us for certain, but to many of the world out there, they haven't figured it out yet.
Well, the funny thing about that too is every time mainstream media gets on, they, when they get on their own podcast, that's when you really find out how stupid they are. And many of them are starting to do podcasts, and then
It's
you
so
find
fun.
out how like duplicitous they are.
Yeah, and then you see because their views are totally sometimes different, and they don't even realize what they said on air because they're just reading the script. And then watching them get asked questions in an open format, very different than reading a script when somebody is suddenly demanding why on questions and things. It's a totally different. I very much enjoyed watching them flounder.
Yeah.
But they have really cool setups and they've got really cool staffs and crews. They got really cool tech doing it. It's a really well polished turd.
Right.
You would call it just saying they did see you on Charlie Ward last night. So I guess you're starting to hit the airwaves sooner.
Well, he has a private group, and then there's
Gotcha.
then he's gonna have it on the main channel for Saturday with that too. So, and by the way, too, I had a very interesting one with Mary Crowley. It was like, for me, it was like 5:30 in the morning because she was in Israel. And at the very end of it, and she, we were talking about, all the strikes, and she was in Israel. At the very end of it, she had an EAS on her phone that she had to jump into a bomb shelter because it was happening. So it's very interesting. So.
Got him rocking wants to know if the St. Germain Trust is going to be opened on Easter.
So the St. Germain Trust it's easier to open it up in Easter and Christmas time. It's just that they can be opened at different time frames. So, they can be open up any other time frame. They just are easier to open up on Easter and Christmas. So
maybe we get the RV on April 2nd, and then they announce all the humanitarian on the 5th. Who knows, on Easter.
Right.
Darlene, RFK posted yesterday on the chemtrail investigation.
Oh, yeah, he did. That's right. Now, that's one of the things I have wondered about is, will we get full control over Social Security accounts? I have been thinking about, post, go back currency, when we kind of, and it comes from a payroll kind of response. So as a person who enters stuff in payrolls, once we kind of, delete the IRS and everyone kind of, refixes, how do you handle Social Security and Medicare? So once you're not paying to any IRS, and everyone gets it, right? Because you're not paying out that stuff, so I still believe that you're going to have monies going to Social Security and Medicare. But what if this is the Scott term? I think it's like 5.6% to Social Security. Quote me if I'm wrong. Catch me if I'm wrong, but whatever that is. What if you actually had control of saying, you have to put in that amount? What if the government said you do have to put in that amount, but that is your amount that is controllable, that it will always be in your amount of money, which means that it's going into your account. And you can, so it'd be like having a simple IRA. So you can put in more, you can put in just that amount, but it'll always go to you. And so and maybe that would be a cool way of doing it. I've been thinking about that a lot, that we might have that kind of controllable way in the future. I just would be fascinated to see how, Trump kind of adjusts the thinking on that kind of stuff too. So,
BA Thinker, Mark, Dr. Scott, any comments? I guess for verification on whether DJT publicly appointed Sidney Powell as the election fraud czar.
oh, I would love it. I mean, would she not be the best person for it? She would slice and dice those people. I mean, Katie Hobbs just came out today and just like, well, I don't know why we're talking about the election of 2020. And I'm like, are you stupid? Like every single
We never finished just because she said the conversation was over. We weren't done talking.
Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the picture behind me?
Yep.
It's a picture that that we bought in Colorado. So I can't remember. It was these really kind of cool pictures of American Furniture Warehouse. I can't remember one of the spots. It was a really kind of cool one. So, what do I think of mortgage rates? Well, I think number one, we're not going to be. Sorry. Number one, I don't think there's going to be any more compound interest. So I think it's going to be simple interest. And some people propose that interest rates might be a 1 or 2% simple interest rates. So that's what I would agree with. So I think that we'd have very, very low simple interest rates. So it would be wonderful with that too.
Another G. Herbie said, yesterday, friend's son had 12 grand school loan cleared out. Now owes nothing. There's definitely been, we've had a lot of people chiming in. We've had mortgages paid. We've had a lot of student loans. We can track that in the news fairly well. That to me, I think they are softballing Nasser at us, Dr. Scott, trying to see how everybody behaves when they start doing that.
Well, and you and I've talked about this before, but we've had, dozens and dozens and dozens of people have shared their own personal testimonies, their own stuff with how much they've had their own loans forgiven. So yeah, but I've had, whole credit reports forgiven. I've had people's, not mine, but their own credit reports forgiven. Their partial credit reports are.
You're welcome to do, anything I've got going on.
Say that again.
They're welcome to take care of anything I've got going on.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love it. It doesn't happen to me, but I do know of dozens of people that I've done some YouTube video, at least 1 or 2 on. So I'm sorry. What's up with Trump putting Erica in a position of Air Force? I don't know. I know he kind of put it out there, but I have no idea what he's doing with that one. Sorry, it's not one of things I've watched in that close.
Yeah, I've been kind of afraid to touch that one, but some of the information coming out on Erica, is it right? Is it accurate? Is it not? But there's definitely some questionable things to make you scratch your head and wonder. Here's another one for you. I've heard Promise Mag asking you, have you heard of the Great American Mortgage Company and or American Credit Union? Thought I saw something about that coming down the road.
Yeah, I don't know. Great American, I don't care about any of those kind of things until we go past it. Ignore every one of them. You can't even think about them until afterwards. So,
all right. I'm trying to keep up with. Yeah, we already did that one. At 2 Mil Web. Yep. Keep your friends close, enemies closer. Dwayne. Yeah, what do you think mortgage rates will be after this thing's done? What do you think credit card rates or car loans?
I think all of them have to be on a simple interest. That's the point. I think that's where I think the thing that we've talked about, everything has to be a simple interest. Everything has to be at a very, very low kind of thing. But banks still have to make some money. You can't like have them making no interest, zero interest kind of thing. So, we have to see that kind of ability, because banks can't do it for free. But we've also, there are also ways of doing like 7/8 loans, which means that that you would pay on a simple interest basis. There's a way of paying the interest up front, and then you pay the loan and the back end of that. So I remember hearing about that one from my father-in-law before he passed away. He talked about that quite a bit. That's how loans happen that way.
Watch what happened. I can't wait. Crypto Deli, give us any hints if you want on what you're hearing for March 28th. Bud, question for you, Dr. Scott. Have you heard of Elon Musk's X money? It's pretty cool in my book.
No, I haven't heard anything about it. Sorry.
Basically, I mean, for those that don't know, PayPal never would have existed without Elon Musk. So he's architected many of those. He sold it, and that's the money that funded him cranking Tesla. X, think of it as somebody took Cash App, PayPal, and your bank account and put them all together so that you can pay things seamlessly with a fraction of the cost and the fees that we pay now for even, in that. So think of it as Cash App, PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover, and your bank all in one thing in one app. It's really pretty cool, and you control it.
Well, it sounds a little bit like a QFS kind of ability that, puts it all together.
Well, it really does.
See all of your, see everything together, which is kind of what I predicted a long time ago, that, in the ability for the QFS, why can't you see everything together? I just don't know why it shouldn't be able to do
that. Rebel Grandma, if everyone's rich, why would we need loans?
Okay.
I'm going to be rich.
Listen, I've said, listen, you guys got to do me a favor. Everyone who believes that lie, I want you to do me a favor. I want you just to walk over to Google. It is a very simple exercise. Walk over to Google and say, type in this. If everyone had $5 million, what would happen? Simple exercise, very simple for you to do. No one would have any money. No one would have any money. So what would happen is it would be it would raise prices on everything. It would inflate every single price. So therefore, all prices would rise. It would screw up the gold-backed currency. Everyone doesn't get all money. And so if everyone's rich, no one is rich. Sorry, you can't do that. Makes no sense. Well, I was told 15 years ago, bank would charge. See, who told you that? That I understand, Chet, that you're saying that they would charge a fee. What does that mean?
What if they'll just go like, instead of fluctuating interest, it will say, yeah, we'll make this loan, but here's the exact amount so that it can't compound. I'm wondering if just some usury changes, perhaps.
Right. So, but listen, there are ways of making an interest kind of thing, but a simple interest. Simple interest. There's nothing wrong with that, or a fee, but it's a straightforward kind of way. That's a really straight kind of way. Jack says, what if we don't need money? Guess what? We all need money. Money is a way of transacting. Listen, we're not going to live in a utopia where there is no money. Sorry.
Not yet, anyways. I'm looking forward to that day and time because it means Christ will have returned. Why are so many homes still being, I guess, bought by entities and some of these bigs? I know it is slowed drastically, but if we're going to hit a downturn, any of them with cash will probably start scooping them up at a record discounts.
Yeah, we're gonna start seeing some of those change over, and really there's gonna be some interesting ways that will happen. So
No, for the love of God, no. Bernadette Holmes, do we need a QFS account now? I keep getting messages to get a QFS. Guys, that is scammers. They are trying to take your information, your money, run like Hades. Better yet, when they send you an email, it's happened to so many of you guys as they're pretending to be me. Many of you guys probably happened. They were pretending to be Dr. Scott.
liar, liar, pants on fire.
It's run full tilt. Better yet, send the emails or messages to law enforcement. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Cooper, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Mark, do you think we're at a Red Sea moment where it's about ready to split open? That's exactly where I think we are. I agree that with many of you folks, I very much think the Iran Israel thing needs settled. I very much think that probably Russia, Ukraine as well. I think probably less important than Iran and Israel and etc. But I do think you're about to see sudden movement on that changes your thoughts completely. I do think we're on a Red Sea moment.
Kukla has a really good question here. She goes from Noreen. What if the borrower doesn't make payments on time and penalties? You know, I think that we've been too nice to people at times. You know, I think there still needs to be a penalty when someone doesn't pay. Listen, I mean, I'm going to talk to you as a business owner. I have to deal with insurance companies, and these insurance companies. So I'll have a patient. We've done the insurance checkup, and we found that they can actually. Thank you, appreciate that. My wife doesn't necessarily agree yet. We're still in the growing phase, but you know, we've done the checkup, and we found that that they have a hearing aid benefit, for instance. So we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. So we have commissions that I'm paying out. I have all kinds of other cost of goods. I have huge amounts of monies. And here's what happens to me. I don't get paid for 2, 3, 4, 6 months down the road. And they screw with me all the time. And so I treat them, I mean, I am brutal with insurances. And on top of that, I actually have to pay an insurance processing company. And I'm outraged with these companies. And these are billion upon billion dollar companies. And I hate all of them. They all should be living in the pit of hell. And so, you know, and I can't charge them penalties whatsoever for treating me badly. And I'm going to give you an external example. One of them, I had to refund a patient because he, you know, gave money back, and the insurance company, United Health, wanted I paid them back. And 6 months ago, they cashed the check, and now they're still bugging me for the money back. I'm like, I gave you money back, and they keep bugging me for the same kind of stuff. This is the kind of crap that I have to deal with every single day. So
I'm with MS. These outrageous price increases at the gas pumps, another sleazy tactic by the oil companies. Much of that fuel refined, sitting in the ground already. They claim so they don't have to raise it as quickly if there's a shock and it's in the system. Or because when it comes down suddenly, but they still have overpaid for gas in their tanks. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Because I've noticed that they make it on both ends. They get you coming and get you going.
And I think one of the things that has to occur on a lot of this level is, and the quantum financial system, it will be a very helpful thing, is transparency. We need to see transparency on a lot of levels here. When we see a huge amount of transparency, what we're going to find is that these people cannot get away with this kind of stuff. So Banks have been on simple interest for 4 decades, and I cringe every time I hear that they need to change.
Yeah, probably what we need to do is bring in folks like you to explain, because a lot of what's going on in the world is not everybody understanding the same, not on the same page when it comes to terms, definitions, etc. Um, let's see, Time Lagumina. How many people do you think are actually invested in foreign currency in the U.S.? I know, we get an artificial take because everybody in here pretty much
Yep.
is. So we think everybody around us and all our friends have it, and therefore we extrapolate it to the rest of the world when it's actually a fraction, like less than 1%,
Oh gosh, it probably
fraction
less
of a
than that.
percent.
Yeah, it's a very tiny group, and you know what? It's dwindling as we go along.
It
It
is.
is really, really dwindling. So, and frankly, people that might not even show up might dwindle even further. So that's a fascinating point with that too. And how many people have even a significant amount of currency is very interesting too.
Isn't it illegal? No. At least I can't find anything to say it's illegal to rise the price when you've already paid. I mean, business is business, supply and demand. You make what you want. Meaning it might be legal, it's just sleazy. But then that's true in life. What's legal is not ethical. What's ethical is not legal. Often they coordinate just often enough for us to have the illusion that it's supposed to matter that way. Do you think Cuba has already fallen? Yeah, your thoughts on what's going on in Cuba, Dr. Scott?
Well, every time he talks about it, I think that it's just we're just waiting for the fat lady to sing. So that's just I think that's what we're basically saying with it too.
Why are so many apartment buildings still being built? I
That's a
think
very that's an interesting one. I don't know where we are in that process. I mean, remember, to build a building like that is gonna be a couple years to accomplish. So, it takes a long time for that thing to be done. Um, I
yeah.
still
In other
wonder.
words, now that now that everything's changed, the ship still takes a while to change its course. But if you
Exactly.
look at every boom and bust, it's left with uncompleted big building projects like that. The money's cheap, money's free almost. We go through an easy credit cycle like we're just coming out of. And you see that. You see wealthy people or people that thought they were wealthy building massive homes, and then they stop midway through construction. Big projects, apartment complexes under construction, then it just stops because the money runs out because they based it on numbers that changed completely on a dime.
Yeah, and then I think what you're going to find is like, the gold currency. We see that shift, that moment in time that everything changes, right? The world is going to take that. While you and I are going to be celebrating, the whole world is going to take time to adjust. Economies are going to, there are going to be some level of pausing in a lot of
Yeah, and
levels.
think about it, if all the technology we hear about are accurate, it's going to take a while for everything to. I mean, that's a lot of change to toss on a system.
Right. So everyone's going to be like, wait, well, how do we do that? So apartment complexes, they might be pausing like how they're building out on things. And so it's going to change everything and how they look at stuff. So,
Um, the, Dr. Scott, I don't know about you, but I've not heard from any of the bank folks that there is a problem with currency bought other places as long as it's real. That there, I guess, and I've had a number of people ask that recently. So I'm guessing some guru out there said they're not going to take what you bought on Amazon or
nope, that's not what
or
I've heard at all.
and no, no, no. Your currency's your currency. When you go to the grocery store, do they care if you got that $100 bill from Wells Fargo or if Dr.
Look at it.
Scott owed you $100 and gave it to you? They just don't care
I mean, unless it looks, unless something looks
unless it's just fake.
like that,
Exactly.
then come on.
Oh wait, isn't that the new US 20? I got one of those during the Biden administration.
I do. So I mean, I think you're going to realize when they're still going to look at everything out there. They're going to look at it to see what's happening. So
That's a great question, Teresa. I certainly hope and pray. I think some will be shocked by how many step up, and I think many of you folks will be absolutely appalled at how many people take their money and run. People that you've been hanging out with for years, talking about all the good stuff, and then when money hits, I'm afraid too many people are just going to take it and run.
And well, I mean, run. Do they? They just kind of sit in sit in their backyard.
Yeah,
That's
do
the
no good.
struggle. But I think some people, I think a lot of people are going to be sitting in their backyard and maybe for a few months, and then you kind of have to, pull their way out and go, okay, all right, let's get doing something with that too. Why are they dwindling in currency holders? I think
Tired. We're just tired. Attrition.
tired, passed away. They gave up. There's a lot of different things. This takes faith. When people have lost hope and faith, it really is tough. So,
Tahoe Builder, I'm with you. I think we're going to see at least a good 2 to 5 years of change on the heels of this, and just be prepared to change your thinking.
exactly.
Redeemed Patriot says, I heard 3, 4, 6, 10 on Dinar Dong Boulevard. Have you heard anything on rates that you're willing to share?
No, I mean, I remember hearing, on the dong, sometimes as much as $20, at one time, but I think it's a lot lower than those kind of numbers.
Yeah, Terry just saying currency owners maybe 0.01%. I'll agree with you. It's a fraction.
Yep.
But if you think about it now, the wealth of the world is in the hands of a small fraction. That fraction just changes. Now we'll see if we're any better than those people we love to rail against. We'll see if we're any better than all of those folks heading off to Epstein Island doing crappy stuff once we're sitting on money. Are we going to be any better? Are we going to be worse? I certainly hope we're going to be exponentially better.
And that's the thing, that's where you need to be preparing yourself in that way. What are you doing to prepare yourself in that circumstance? And I think what most of these people have done is they surrounded themselves with sick agents, and allowed themselves to really get into a really bad circumstance too. So, what do you think will happen with president and prime minister who's seated? I think you're going to see a lot of people. There are going to be some changeover of some prime ministers. So don't believe who you think is in office afterward. So.
Yeah, Brian, the longer we wait, it is almost time for that Dr. Scott and that prayer. Jason, yeah, this is it. We're going to want to say I told you so, but we will need to keep that to ourselves while we help. Yeah, no, you can come on here. We'll have an I told you so podcast episode that we'll erase after so everybody can get it out of their systems.
Yeah, you're not gonna feel that way. You're just gonna go, whatever, because you need to be in that circumstance of like, listen, I can't worry about it. I'm going to be so busy. I can't worry about that.
Cameron, right? It's a great shirt. But it would be better in gold. Anything? Let's see. I saw that one, Larry. All right. Anything you want to add, or you just want to keep going?
No, I'm good.
We're going to get you to pray if you're up for it, and then I'll see if we have any birthdays. We're ready for you to pray if you're ready.
No, I'm good. All right. Thank you, Lord God. I just thank you so much that you're taking care of us, being around us, Lord God. I just ask, Lord God, that you begin to prepare our hearts, our minds, that we sit in your presence, that we know that you are taking care of us, that we don't have that spirit of fear, the spirit of anger, the spirit of "I told you so," that kind of craziness, that we have that spirit of giving, that we look at giving and giving to people around us. We just thank you, Lord God, that you tell us where we're going to give, how we're going to give, and the right way of giving, not giving to harm, but giving in the correct patterns, not giving that would mess people up, and being very, very judicious in the level of giving, Lord God. And I just thank you, Lord, that you are going to bring about a mighty healing presence that will make huge differences in the world. And I just thank you so much that you are around us and bringing that peace. In your name we pray. Amen.
And the people said amen. Dr. Scott, thank you. Do we get you again next week?
Yep. We'll be here next week.
Bells are optional, though, okay?
If we can do it.
All right.
right.
We do have a couple of birthdays. Brent Lee, Autumn. Those are the only two I've seen so far. If somebody else is having one, just sound off so that even if I don't see it, so your friends can wish you a happy birthday. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. To all those celebrating happy birthday. Yeah, bells would be nice. Redeemed Patriot, happy unbirthday. For us, the folks, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning unless there's breaking news. I'm local, so if there is any, I'll be back. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., and we will have the illustrious, notorious, famous, and infamous Mr. Cottrell. See you guys then.